Now, I've always been a curious child. I mean, in my mom's words though, it would be called a naughty child. So basically, I've always been a naughty child. But in my defense, I'm always just curious. I think even as an adult, I ended up being curious about a lot of things, especially things that have to do with my body and how I can take my body into situations that challenge me. So every thing that I've done in the future or things that I was doing in the past were in a sense a way of me trying to challenge my body, seeing what it can do. I mean, I'm fascinated by a lot of things, hence why I love dance so much, which is what this story that I'm coming to, it links to dance because I was trying to show some of my dance students how to do certain things. Things that you used to do as a child, like a forward roll. Just bending yourself and just rolling forward. Forward roll, which I always say to my dance students, since I've been teaching it for quite a while, the forward roll is a basic dance move. One of those general moves that you should know when you want to dance or when you're a contemporary dancer, maybe even any type of dancer. Forward roll is, it's one of those things that you should know. But sometimes it's really hard to teach an older body how to do a forward roll because people, the last time they did a forward roll, it was when they were kids. And now that they are older, their bodies tend to be, a little bit stiff. So in telling them about forward rolls and all that stuff, it made me remember moments in my life where I attempted to fly or basically challenge my body in flight, and all the other times where I was a bit too curious, so curious in fact that injuries occurred, especially the first time I broke my arm. But before I get there, a story that I want to share. I think I'm going to share two stories today, both relating to the idea of challenging the body and flight. The first story is when me and my cousin, I don't know what we were doing, but we were just venturing around Mhosheni, which is like the bush that I've previously mentioned, that's by my house. I mean, like I said, when you're a child, a small bush looks like a jungle. And this bush was a jungle. Actually, this section of the bush, which was really far from home, was really like a jungle. I mean, it had tall trees, it had everything. And for some reason, we were there adventuring. I don't know what we were doing, but we were there. We were going, and as we are going in this bush, we see an adult. It's like a teenager. I think he was a teenager or some guy. But to make you imagine what I'm talking about, this bush had a tree on one side, let's just say the left side, and there used to be a huge gap in the middle, and there would be another side of basically this huge bush. So I think like it used to be like a really hollow and deep type of a really deep type of groove or land. So basically, if I'm making an example in this video, you would see a tree here and land on the other side, and there would be like a huge bush in the middle. So getting across is like, I don't know what type of risk you are taking, but it's a really huge grove. But what we saw this adult do was the most amazing thing a child could ever see. And being a curious child, probably one of the worst things I could have seen. So the adult, just like how Tarzan does it, I don't know how he did it, but for some reason, I'm coming to what happened later. He gets on top of this tree that's on this one side. I think he jumped. Yeah, he Yeah, I mean, I feel like there were times where I think I should have died a long time ago. I mean, clearly we should have died a long time ago. But he jumps, and when he jumps, he grabs basically the end of this tree, and then the tree magically just bends over and drops him on the other side. We were like, what the fuck? What the fuck? That is amazing. Literally like a movie. This man jumped, grabbed the tree basically bent forward and then dropped him on the other side of the hill. We were like, fuck, we're doing that. I was there convincing my cousin that we were going to do this. This is our thing. Let's go try it out as well, because it looked freaking amazing. We waited for the guy to disappear and then we went there to try. So there I was standing on the opposite side of the hill. Here, the tree is somewhere below. I was going to jump, grab the tree. The tree was going to just drop down and drop us on the other side, just like how we saw this guy do it. So there I was, prepared to jump. I jumped. Now the problem here's what's the problem. It was one slight problem. Me and my cousin had not discussed that I'm gonna jump first, grab the tree, go to the other side, and then he's going to jump second. For some for some reason, I think that conversation was assumed, but in my cousin's mind, I think it did not register. Because the moment I jumped, literally 2 seconds after, this man jumps, following me. I'm guessing in his idea that we were gonna both grab the tree and go to the other side. But the moment I jumped, the moment I grabbed the branch, hoping that it's going to swing me onto the other side, because I can't tell you how deep this grove was to the end, and we don't even know what was there. Rocks, bottles, it's the hood. People do a lot of strange things down there. Anyway, I grabbed the branch, and my cousin, trying to grab the branch as well, doesn't make it. He doesn't make it to the branch, but he does make it to my body. As I grab the branch, he tries to grab it as well, and then he just grabs me and tries to hold on for dear life. Now, I was not expecting another weight to be with me at that moment. I was like, fuck, 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 fuck. The branch breaks. And down we go. We go down, and then bam. I don't know how long we lie there in pain, but we lay there because the fall was so deep. Thinking about it now, it's stupid, but yeah, we tried to grab it, we fell, and then it was down there. But it creates context for the idea of how much I tried so many things to test out my body. I mean, this brings me back to the main story that I want to talk about, which involves me breaking my arm. I literally, when I was young, I had this arm broken, not necessarily dislocated, which would happen in a bone where you can have dislocation, but no, it literally broke in the middle of my hand. So what happened? There was there was my house, and there was again, it's one of those steep groves or hills, in a sense. If you can see my house, but it's a house here, and there's a place that we would try to walk across, basically. If you were on a roof, you can't jump that far, especially for a young body. But some reason, this time around, there was a plank or there was a steel pipe that was laid across my roof to the ground. So basically you could walk up into the roof and you could walk down into the ground. Simple as that, right? Simple thing. Tiny kid, maybe not. Really dangerous, especially for a child who is really curious. But we were playing around that pole. Now, to give you a little bit of an idea as well, the pole was round. It wasn't flat. So the more you walk on it, it keeps, changing. It keeps rolling around. So basically you have to balance yourself. Even more exciting. The challenge of having to balance the pole from not falling or from not rolling over as you walk across. Oh my God, how amazing is that for a child? Well, not so much. Not so much. As we were playing around there, my mom kept yelling, "Aibo, kungalimali muntu." Because if someone gets hurt, I will fuck up their shit. Basically, in direct translation, that's what she was saying. It's like, if anybody gets hurt while we are busy playing there, she'll just fuck them up. It was like a prediction. I swear, parents know this thing where they can predict if something is going to happen. And my mom was spot on, because we didn't see it, but she clearly foresaw something happening later on. We continued playing. I was about to attempt something that probably I shouldn't have attempted at that time. But I told my cousins and my siblings to step aside, as I was about to only step once on the pole as I walk across. I was basically going to run from the roof, step on this thing that rolls back and forth, and then jump to the other side. Oh my God. Oh, can you? Yeah, sure. Who else but me? So there I was, preparing, and I ran. The moment I stepped on the thing, science says it's because it experienced too much force. It just rolled over like this. It just tipped me. I stepped, it tipped me, down I was going. I swear, it felt like it was forever that I was falling. I know, when you fall, it feels like it's happening for days. It felt like hours. I'm like, oh my God, when am I going to reach the ground? And I have such a tiny body. The moment I crashed onto the floor, I cried, "Ma!" But I couldn't cry that loud because my mom would hear me. But she already heard. "Kwenzekani? What happened? Ngitheng!" And then, of course, it's these little ones that made the situation worse. Because I saw my bone, my hand just was hanging like this. And the kids were crying even more. Uvele ithambo. Right there, my hand. No bones were showing. It's just that the bone was popping into the skin and poking it. You could tell that my hand was broken. But because I was scared, the moment it happened, the moment I got the strength to get up, I got up and ran into grandma's house and just hid under the bedroom. Basically under the bed. And mom comes rushing in. Move. And then she's there, coming into the bedroom. And she's trying to reach for me. Come out. Timbalan, phum. Ay, uzongishaya. Ngeke ngikushaya man, phuma ngifuna ukubona. Phuma. Ay, unamanga. Ufuna ukungishaya ngeke. Because I was scared. I knew my mom had warned me. Now she was angry. And now she was getting more angry that the fact that I'm hiding and I don't want to come out. Phuma wena man. Ay, ngeke ngiyasaba. Ngeke uzongishaya. And then the family members were actually telling her, please forgive him, don't beat him up, he will come out if you promise not to beat him up. And my mom promised, of course, not to beat me up, which, I knew she was gonna whoop my ass. She was lying. She was definitely lying about not whooping my ass. And then I told her, can she go out and wait for me in the living room? I could feel the frustration. I am telling her what to do, and I'm hiding from her, and I've broken probably my hand. She was getting more angry as I was basically, the more time I was spending under the bed. She left the bedroom and waited in the living room. I came out. I knew I was guilty. I knew I had done something wrong because my hand was not properly in its place. What's in one? And she sees my hand and she stays quiet for a bit. And all I hear is, wah! You know, that slap. That slap that just makes everything fuzzy. It's so quick, but it almost feels like time has stopped. And there's like a ringing in your ears, but it's like everybody is speaking, but things are just quiet. The moment I was feeling that slap, I could hear another one coming. Wah! And then it just shook me back to life. Hayi bo busi, miyeke phela kodwa Nkosi yami, ilimele ingane. And I could tell my mom was angry. She didn't even have the words to say how she had warned us. What was the son? And then she took me, she gave me a bath. I mean, that was probably one of the worst parts I had, because as I was being battered, she kept whooping me just to remind me that I had done some stupid shit. Ambulance came. I went to the hospital. And I remember the hospital very clearly, especially when they were about to align my bones. I don't know, I had metals in my hand when I was a kid. Because what I remember is they were putting me under. I think they gave me an injection, but I knew they gave me an injection and it wasn't working. They told me to count. And then I was counting down, and they were asking me, am I still awake? And I'm like, yeah, I'm still awake. How? They were like, huh? And then they did something again, and then they asked me to count down again, and then I was like, yeah, I'm still awake. I think it was only after they put the thing, I think probably like an oxygen mask or whatever it is, whichever anesthesia it was, and then I was knocked out. But I was awake for quite a long time. And then I woke up and there were metals in my hand, and basically proof that I had broken my hand. But being in the hospital probably was the worst thing, if not the best thing. I don't know, it's trapped in between. I don't like hospitals. I'm not a fan. I don't think I'm the only one too, but I know during my time in the hospital, I was always outside. The moment my hand started healing a little bit, or I could actually walk, I walked outside and I would be chilling in the sun, just basking on the heat of the sun. It happened so many times that the doctor would come to check on me and I was not there. So what they decided to do is they decided to discharge me because I wasn't using the bed, because I was never there inside. And I went home. After I was home, I didn't want to go back to the hospital. I mean, not just that, nobody wanted to go to the hospital or to take me to the hospital. So I was like, fuck it, I don't want to go back anyway. So I stayed with the plaster, it's called a plaster, I don't know. But yeah, the thing. Kokol. For quite a long time. And then of course when it was removed, my hand was very tiny, but it had I don't know if any of you have ever broken a bone in your body and then you had to put shit, I need to Google what that thing is, but ukonkolo, that thing where you have to scratch it under, I mean the sensation that you feel is one of the most, I don't know, beautiful, amazing sensations ever, because it's so ticklish. Your skin is is so wrinkled, but when you scratch it, it's the most beautiful, pleasurable sensation ever. I could feel the sensation when I was scratching my hand. I don't know if, yeah, but yeah. But I had to go back to the hospital because my bones he started like coming out, because I wasn't going back to the hospital because the doctors hadn't fixed my thing probably because I was not escaping, but escaping going there. But my little piece of his bones started coming out of my hand, and I think it got an infection, so I had to go back to the hospital. And my older sister, bless her soul, took me there, and then I got fixed and I was given medication and everything got better. But yeah, the idea of me having to experience and love the idea of heights, it still fascinates me till today. Even when I was in university, being a dance person, anything that has to do with a flight, I would always try to do it, to try and experiment. Backflips over roofs, backflips over walls, all those things, they fascinate me. I like flying. Flight is just one of those amazing human things that we can actually do. Especially that, I think this is why I love breakdancing. But yeah, that is it for today's story. And the moral behind that story is explore your body. In all essence, explore what your body can do and see how much you can push it to actually do those things. Thank you again for being here with me, for listening to me, and hopefully you can share your stories. Love you all.